Hi, how are you?
Okay, just tell me your name and how do you spell it?
My name's Joshua Riddle, Joshua Riddle.
So, what does the city do out here today?
They posted some signs telling us we had to be out in 72 hours. Knowing we have nowhere else to go and that we've been flooded out, this is the first campsite I've been out since the flood that hit about a month and a half ago. I'm still not comfortable with being outside to begin with, and now the one place I am fine with, I'm being told I have to leave, along with my wife.
Describe to me what happened during the flood.
I lost everything. I woke up floating 2 feet above ground, and when I stepped out of my tent, I stepped out moments before we got washed. We lost everything to the creek. I had to push my wife and the only thing I was able to save, which was a bike, out of the water because my wife couldn't even swim against the current, and I could barely walk against the current. And I ended up going to the ER from hypothermia, like first stages of hypothermia and shock. And then we actually spent that weekend at the Red Cross shelter.
Well, how long ago was that then?
That was the flood that
Did you know?
individual died.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the days after that, what was it like trying to find shelter? So you're in the flood and you're flooded out, you lost all your stuff. And how the
Luckily, we had some friends that helped us out. They just moved into the new Kinzer Flats, which we're still waiting on an apartment. If it wasn't for them, I don't know what would have happened because I'm still not ready to be out here yet.
So, where are you going to go now with the city cracking down like this?
I don't know. I don't know.
If you were going to say something to the mayor, what would you say to him?
Please reconsider making us leave here because some of us really aren't cool with being out here due to things that are beyond your control or anyone else's control. I'm just now becoming okay with being out here again, and we've been out here for 3 years. If you could help us with someplace safe to go.
What about some of these local people who are always complaining about people that don't have a house? What would you say to them?
Help build one for us. Instead of complaining, why don't we help become part of the solution instead of creating more to the problem that we are already dealing with? 2 weeks ago, we had somebody drive through here trying to run us over. And it was a bad situation. If I hadn't been standing where I was, my wife wouldn't be here right now, and neither would my friend who graciously gave us this little lean-to.
Describe what happened in that incident.
I don't know much about the details as to what led to it, but the dude was on one. He was threatening us and harassing us all night, and then out of nowhere, he drove through and ran over 16 different bikes. Almost ran over 3 dogs. Missed countless people just by the hair. I tried jumping through the passenger side window to make him drive into the bridge, and he hit our friend Joe, which he just kind of spun off the side of the passenger side of the vehicle. He ended up getting arrested the next night. Yeah, it wasn't good. But I mean, people like that, instead of creating more stress, we're already dealing with enough bullshit. Why not help us? You know, there's a lot of people out here that do help us, that do have a heart. Instead of driving by, blaring your music or revving up your engines, trying to showboat and telling us, get the fuck away from here, help us. That's all we're asking for, is a little bit of help.
What are some of the daily and weekly challenges to just trying to stay alive out here?
Making sure we stay hydrated. We just got our food stamps, so I mean, it's not so much an issue right this moment, but there are times where we need water more than anything. And they're like restricting access to places where we can get water, and that's the biggest thing we need is water. Luckily we get a lot of help when it comes to food. Ask this guy. We pigged out last night.
The the city had the water shut off last winter. Were you out here, and what was that like? Were people getting sick trying to drink out of streams and stuff?
Ones that used their head didn't get sick because we boiled our water first, but there was a couple of people that did get sick because they didn't have access to boil their water and clean it, filter it.
Just describe for a minute the process of that.
Some people took it as took the safety measures as a joke.
Yeah.
And they didn't take it
Like you said.
They would get sick and all that, and like you said, some got sick, some didn't.
That's my buddy Nate here. He's
You okay with being on camera?
Prefer not to be, but if I have to be, okay.
you made a comment, so you can just smile and nod.
I kind of got you on mic. But I heard from the food bank that people didn't have water. The city shut off the water in the park, and people were getting it out of ponds and streams, and they were getting sick. So the process of like just trying to get water when you don't have access to.
What we would do is we'd go and we'd get these big ass jugs we'd find all over the city, and we'd fill those with water. I mean, I'm talking about 50-gallon drums that we'd be carrying on our bikes or on our backs, and we'd push them from one location to another filled with water. Huh? I don't have it, buddy. Maybe in the rocks. Hang on a minute.
That sounds like a scene from some other country.
I mean, no country you go, you drink water naturally from the streams or creeks or ponds or rain-filled ponds. It's not good for you. It's not healthy for you. It's actually really, really, really bad for you to do. You can get all sorts of illnesses. Whenever you're drinking fresh water, even if it's from a fresh stream, you want to boil it first. You get a fire going, you boil it. You can boil water from the creek in a water bottle. All you got to do is fill the water bottle up, put a lid on it, and literally you can set it in the fire, and it will boil the water in the plastic bottle and not melt the bottle. If I had a fire going right now, or if I didn't think I would get messed with for starting a fire right here, I'd show you guys the process. But right now I don't have it. I got a good old Mountain Dew.
It sounds like it's pretty hard to stay alive out here, though.
It can be. It can be. It very much well can be.
You've had water issues.
My biggest struggle is my weight. I'm 36 years old. I'm 6'4". I should weigh about 240, 250. I weigh about 210, 220. And it varies. I've gotten down to 186, and I look deathly ill when I'm that small. Luckily, I've been able to keep my wife for the last year at 130 pretty steadily. That's because I make sure she eats before I eat. I mean, we do kind of keep each other's backs pretty steady. Like, if it wasn't for Fred at times, me and my wife would have had nowhere to go. Right before Christmas last year, me and my wife's tent got burnt down over something stupid, and Fred was there to help us out. And he's here now under the bridge because of the flood as well. He lost everything.
And the city put in some new docks. Now they're going to go after the areas where it flooded and try to throw people out of there. So if there's nowhere to go, where are you going to go?
We'll sleep in his front yard if we got to.
The mayor's front yard?
Yeah. We will sleep in his front yard, with or without tents. We don't care. You know, you can't keep pushing us around without somebody fucking biting back. Pardon my French, but that's the simple truth of it. You can't push and push and push and expect nothing in retaliation. We're not doing anything wrong. For the most part, we try our best to keep it cleaned up. We can't take care of everyone's mess, but we have our days where we just don't care. Just like he does, just like you do, just like everybody. There's days where we're just like, you know what? The house is staying a mess today. Yeah, like he said, I don't give a fuck days. And we're entitled to that just like everyone else is. Just because we don't have a house doesn't make us any different. You know? If you really want to help, I'm a Class A truck driver. Help me get my license reinstated, and I guarantee you won't hear another problem from me. But I bet you I'm going to be helping everybody out here.
How long were you a truck driver for?
I come off the road November 2017. My license got suspended for a ticket that I forgot to pay. That was it. And then I found out that my license was suspended in Iowa on vacation. And I got another ticket. So now I got to pay $480. The state's already been appeased as their request for me to get my license reinstated, so the state part's been paid, but I still got to pay those 2 fines. I pay those and my license is reinstated and I'm back in the workforce.
And just lastly, what was it like trying to survive during the COVID pandemic when everybody's, in their house safe and you're out here on the streets?
Hey, guess what? We're still out here.
Day by day.
It was horrible. Me and my wife actually went into isolation twice because of it. I'm still not comfortable with seeing my kids who live up on the hill because of it. Until I know 100% that I ain't got to worry about my kids contracting it in any way, shape, or form, I'm afraid to bring them out here. And I can see them anytime.
Have you heard of anybody out here on the streets coming down?
Oh, every one of us have had it by now. Luckily, none of us have died from it. But that's to my knowledge, as far as I know. I mean,
Were you able to access public health care to be able to get the
oh yeah. We do have Medicaid. We do have food stamps. We do have help as far as that's concerned. And luckily, the Shalom Center, in conjunction with some other facilities, they were able to help us out when we needed to go to isolation. Me and Emma went into isolation in January for 8 days. And then about a month later, we went into isolation again for a little while.